What if I told you there's a secret code that connects the music you listen to with the stars in the night sky? Well, that's the incredible idea we're diving into today, an ancient theory that finds a hidden harmony in, well, everything.
So let's just start with this one. Massive question. What if the universe isn't silent? What if it has a hidden soundtrack, a mathematical score that connects it all, from the planets all the way down to our own souls? This, right here, was the driving quest for Pythagoras and his followers. Now, to really get what they were after, we have to understand what they meant by harmony. For these ancient thinkers, harmony wasn't just a couple of nice-sounding notes. No, it was the fundamental requirement for beauty itself. It was the signature of a good, well-ordered universe.
Okay, so that kicks off their quest, a search for a universal order, a cosmic harmony that holds everything together. You know, the ancient Greeks, and they were probably getting some of these ideas from even older Egyptian wisdom, they didn't see the universe as just random chaos, not at all. They saw it as an expression of what they called the eternal good. The perfect spiral in a seashell, the path of a planet. To them, these weren't accidents. They were all clues pointing to a divine, harmonious plan. And this next idea is a perfect way to understand how they saw things. They looked at a simple lyre, a musical instrument, and saw it as a secret symbol for a human being. Think about it. The wooden frame, that's our body. The strings, those are our nerves. And the musician playing the instrument, that's our spirit. See, when the spirit plays the nerves just right, you get the harmony of a healthy, well-balanced person. But this was all still philosophy, right? An idea. Well, that was all about to change. This philosophical concept of harmony was about to become a hard science. And this is the story of that big aha moment. The legend goes something like this. Pythagoras is just walking past a blacksmith shop one day. He hears these hammers of different sizes all striking an anvil. And he notices that some combinations of sounds are beautiful, they're in harmony. But others, they're just jarring and awful. He looks at the hammers, sees they have different weights, and it just hits him. Music isn't magic, it's math. And what he supposedly found, well, it was just breathtakingly elegant. He discovered that the most pleasing sounds, the harmonies we love, are created by simple whole number ratios. An octave, that's just a simple 2-to-1 ratio. A perfect fifth, what the Greeks called a diopte, is 3-to-2. A fourth, a diatessaron, is 4-to-3. Just like that, the great mystery of music was unlocked with the simple beauty of numbers. Okay, so the hammer story, it's awesome, but let's be real. Historians think the real work was probably a bit more scientific. It was likely done on a monochord, a single-string instrument. This thing allowed for precise, repeatable experiments that proved the same incredible point. Music wasn't just a matter of opinion or taste. It was a direct result of divine mathematics.
So once Pythagoras had this key, this mind-blowing idea that math is harmony, he didn't just stop with music. No way. He started applying it to everything, from healing the human soul to measuring the entire cosmos.
So he basically invents this thing called musical medicine. The idea is pretty simple. If the soul is like a lyre, you can actually retune it when it's out of whack. By playing music in specific modes or keys, you could directly affect someone's emotions, calm their anger, lift their spirits, and basically purify their mind. And there are some incredible stories about this in action. I mean, just picture this. A young guy, totally drunk and consumed with jealousy, is piling wood against his lover's door, ready to set the whole place on fire. And his rage is being fueled by this wild, frantic music playing nearby in what was called the Phrygian mode.
But Pythagoras, who just happens to be there, he doesn't yell at the guy. He does something different. He goes over to the musician and calmly asks him to change the song. He tells him to switch to a completely different vibe, the spondaic mode, which was known for being slow, rhythmic, and super calming.
And the effect was instantaneous. The guy's fury just melts away. He calms down, gathers up all his firewood, and just walks home. The musical medicine worked. A potential disaster was avoided with nothing more than a change in harmony.
Okay, so if this principle works on a person, why not the whole cosmos? This is where we get that incredible, famous idea, the music of the spheres. Pythagoras imagined the entire universe as one enormous monochord, and each planet, as it raced through space, was vibrating, producing its own unique musical tone. And they didn't just make this up. They had a system. They actually calculated it. They figured out the specific musical intervals between the planets. From the Earth to the Moon, they said, that's one whole tone. Moon to Mercury, a half tone. Mercury to Venus, another half tone. And so on, creating this incredible musical scale for the entire solar system. So you take all those intervals, 1 plus a half, plus another half, plus 1.5, you add them all up, what do you get? What's the grand total? You get 6. 6 whole tones, which is a perfect diapason, what we would call a perfect octave. In their minds, the solar system was a perfectly tuned instrument, constantly playing a single divine chord. But believe it or not, that didn't even stop there. In this final part, we're going to see how they stretch this amazing principle of harmony to cover the world of sight and even solid objects. So the Pythagoreans, they look at the musical scale, and they look at the color spectrum, and they say, hey, these are the same thing. They proposed a direct link between the notes of the scale and the colors we see. Just like do is the lowest note, red has the lowest frequency of visible light. And as you go up the scale, re, mi, fa, you move right through the spectrum. Orange, yellow, green. To them, sound and light were just two sides of the same cosmic coin. And here's where it gets really compelling for them. Take the 3 primary colors, red, yellow, and blue. What do they correspond to? Well, they line up perfectly with the 3 most fundamental notes you need to make a basic musical chord. The first, the third, and the fifth. It was yet another layer of that hidden mathematical order they were searching for. Now, you might be thinking, okay, this is some cool ancient philosophy, but what does it have to do with anything today? Well, get this. Fast forward over 2,000 years. In the 19th century, a chemist named John Newlands is arranging the chemical elements by atomic weight, and he notices a really weird pattern. Their properties seem to repeat every 8th element. What did he call his discovery? The law of octaves, a direct throwback to Pythagorean music theory. It's this exact idea that harmonious ratios create beauty everywhere, not just in sound, but in physical form, that was summed up so perfectly by the writer Goethe. He said, architecture is crystallized music. A beautiful building feels right for the exact same mathematical reasons that a beautiful chord sounds right. And that kind of leaves us with a final thought, doesn't it? Look, Pythagoras might not have gotten all the details right, but his core idea is still so powerful. He showed us that harmony is rooted in mathematics, and then he applied that principle everywhere, to music, to medicine, to the cosmos. He taught us to look for the hidden patterns, to listen for the music in places we'd never expect. So the real question for us is, if all these things share a hidden harmony, what other invisible connections are just sitting there waiting for us to discover?